I listened as my dad praised my sister as successful and responsible, not knowing that image cost me $105,000, until his entire belief system collapsed. I pull my car into the Brookhaven Heritage Club parking lot, each perfectly laid cobblestone seeming to judge my arrival. The grand Georgian-style building looms ahead with its gleaming white columns and meticulously manicured gardens, a monument to old Charleston money and older Charleston traditions. My stomach tightens as I smooth down my light gray jeans. They're designer, but still jeans. The navy blazer I've paired with them is tailored and classic, my loafers Italian leather. I've dressed carefully, knowing what awaits me on that sunny terrace. Still, a voice whispers that it won't be enough. It never is. I spot them before they see me. My father, Victor, ramrod straight in his linen suit. My mother, Lydia, pearls gleaming at her throat. My sister, Celeste, looking like she stepped from a country club catalog. Their faces are arranged in pleasant expressions for anyone watching, but I recognize the familiar tension in their postures. A doorman nods respectfully as I enter. "Good morning, Miss Diaz." The click of my loafers against marble echoes through the grand foyer. Crystal chandeliers cast prism-like patterns across oak-paneled walls. My parents requested this meeting, Sunday brunch at Brookhaven, where they've been members for 30 years, to catch up. Their words, not mine. Father sees me first. His slight frown deepens, eyes narrowing as they travel from my face to my shoes. Mother's lips purse like she's tasted something sour. Celeste merely smirks, already savoring what's coming. "Opal," Father says as I reach their table. His voice carries across the terrace. "Did you forget this is a respectable establishment?" I freeze mid-step. Around us, conversations pause. Silverware stills against fine china. "I'm not sure what you mean," I say, keeping my voice level. Mother sighs dramatically. "Really, Opal? Look at yourself. Jeans? Here? I told you we were meeting at Brookhaven." "They're Armani, Mother. They're denim," she snaps. Everyone else managed to dress appropriately. Celeste chimes in. "You look like staff, for heaven's sake. Did you come straight from cleaning your apartment?" Heads turn, whispers start. A woman 2 tables over touches her companion's wrist, nodding in our direction. My cheeks burn. Father summons a young waitress with an imperious wave. "Excuse me, could you check with management about the very important person area? Someone doesn't appear to belong." The waitress glances at me, then at my father. Her discomfort is obvious. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll need to call a manager about that." My throat constricts. I'm 7 years old again, wearing the wrong dress to my cousin's birthday, 13, bringing home a B+ when Celeste earned straight A's, 22, choosing the wrong college major. Always disappointing, never enough. "If I'm embarrassing you," I manage. My voice barely audible, "I can leave." Father's eyes flash victory. "Good. This place isn't for people who don't know how to behave." Every guest on the terrace watches now. The magnificent room with its soaring ceilings and wall of windows overlooking Charleston Harbor suddenly feels like a stage, and I'm the unwitting performer in some humiliating play. I turn toward the exit, shoulders hunched, when a gentle hand catches my elbow. "Miss Diaz," says a middle-aged woman in a Brookhaven staff uniform. Her name tag reads Mrs. Henderson. I recognize her immediately. The hostess whose husband needed expensive medication last winter when their insurance denied coverage. I'd intervened quietly, made some calls, covered what they couldn't afford. She steps closer, speaking softly. "You once helped me pay for my husband's medicine when the insurance denied it. You never mentioned it again, just did what was right." Her gray eyes hold mine. "Don't let them shame you. Some of us see everything that happens here." Something shifts inside me, the tectonic plates of my soul realigning. My spine straightens inch by inch. "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson," I whisper. She nods once, steps back. I turn toward my family again. Their expectant faces, so certain of my retreat, tell a story I've known my whole life. The story of Opal Diaz, the disappointment, the one who never quite measures up. But maybe that's not the only story. I walk back to their table, pull out the empty chair, and take my seat. "I believe I'll stay for brunch after all," I say, reaching for a napkin and placing it on my lap with deliberate care. I'm rather hungry. Mother's eyes widen, Celeste's jaw drops slightly, and Father, for perhaps the first time in my memory, appears momentarily at a loss for words. I lift the menu and examine it with newfound interest. Today may have started as their ambush, but something tells me it won't end that way. I watch Father's face change from quiet disapproval to something darker as I sit at the table. His fingers drum against the white tablecloth in a familiar rhythm, the same beat he tapped out when reviewing my disappointing report cards years ago. "This is absolutely unacceptable," he says, voice low but carrying across the terrace. "Jean's at Brookhaven. I've been a member for 30 years and never have I witnessed such disregard for standards." Mother dabs her lips with a crisp linen napkin. "Victor, perhaps we should speak with management. This reflects poorly on all of us." "I agree," Celeste adds, smoothing her peach-colored dress. "The dress code exists for a reason." Father stands abruptly, scanning the terrace for staff. His 6'2" frame commands immediate attention, a skill he mastered during his decades presiding over boardrooms. He spots a young woman in a Brookhaven uniform and raises his hand imperiously. "Excuse me," he calls. "We need to speak with management immediately." The floor manager approaches our table, Kendra Holt. I recognize her from the personnel files, mid-40s, competent, discreet. Her expression reveals nothing as she addresses my father. "Good morning, sir. How may I assist you?" Father gestures toward me without making eye contact. "This girl shouldn't be here. Call the owner immediately." Celeste smirks, crossing her arms. Someone's about to be escorted out. My throat tightens. The familiar weight of their disapproval presses against my chest. For a moment, I consider surrendering, walking out the door, and sparing everyone the scene Father seems determined to create. But Mrs. Henderson's words echo in my mind. "Don't let them shame you." Kendra's professional mask doesn't slip. I understand there's a concern. I'll get Emma Sloan, our executive director, to address this matter. "Good," Mother says, straightening her pearl necklace. "Someone needs to maintain standards around here." The sunlight filtering through the arched windows catches on Mother's diamonds, her 3-carat wedding set, flawless clarity, and tennis bracelet that mark her as a woman of means. Her cream-colored St. John knit suit probably cost more than some people's monthly mortgage payments. Everything about Lydia Diaz announces her status. While we wait, Father launches into familiar territory. "This is exactly the problem with your generation, Opal. No respect for institutions or traditions." I remain silent, taking a slow sip of water. "Your sister understands propriety. She married appropriately, dresses appropriately, behaves appropriately." Celeste preens under his praise. "Jackson and I are still waiting to hear if our membership application will be approved. Perhaps if certain family members didn't create scenes, the process would move faster." Mother pats Celeste's hand. "The committee will recognize your suitability, darling." I catalog each barb, each subtle dig. The familiar family dance continues around me. I spot Nora Sloan approaching our table. She moves with practiced grace, her tailored burgundy suit conveying authority without ostentation. Behind her follows Maggie Adams, her assistant, carrying a leather portfolio. Mrs. Henderson watches discreetly from the service station, her presence oddly reassuring. "Good morning," Nora addresses the table, her voice measured. "I'm Nora Sloan, executive director of Brookhaven. I understand there's a situation. The owner is actually on site today." Father stands taller, buttoning his jacket. "Then get the owner. We'll see what they think about the dress code." Nora's expression remains neutral. "I've already spoken with the owner." "And?" Father demands. A beat of silence follows. Nora turns to look directly at me, something like respect in her eyes. "Miss Diaz is the legal owner of Brookhaven." The words land like thunder in still air. Silverware clatters against china as Mother drops her fork. Celeste's mouth forms a perfect O. Father freezes, his hand suspended mid-gesture. I meet Nora's gaze and nod slightly. "Perhaps we should continue this conversation in your office, Nora." "Of course, Miss Diaz." "This is absurd," Father sputters, color rising in his face. "What kind of joke is this?" I stand straightening my blazer. "It's not a joke, Father. You cannot possibly own Brookhaven," Mother whispers, eyes darting around to see who might be listening. "Follow me, please," Nora says, gesturing toward the main building. Celeste grabs my arm as I pass. "What are you doing? You'll humiliate us all." "No," I say quietly, removing her hand. "That was your specialty today." We follow Nora down the hallway toward the administrative offices. The familiar portraits of founding members line the corridor, old Charleston money looking down with painted disapproval at our procession. Nora's office reflects her personality, organized, tasteful, effective. She indicates the seating area where Maggie has already arranged files on the polished conference table. "Please," she says, gesturing to the chairs. Father remains standing. I demand an explanation. Maggie opens the portfolio. The documentation is quite clear, sir. Brookhaven Heritage Club was acquired 9 months ago for $16.4 million as a distressed property following financial mismanagement by the previous board. Nora continues. The purchaser was Diaz Leisure Holdings LLC, with Miss Opal Diaz as managing partner. There are currently $6.7 million in capital improvements underway. Celeste shakes her head violently. This is impossible. You can barely manage your own life. How could you possibly... You just tried to remove the owner from her own property. I interrupt, my voice steady despite the hammering of my heart. Perhaps that's worth considering before you continue. Father sinks into a chair, his face ashen. Mother stares at the documents as if they might transform into something more comprehensible. Celeste glares at me with a mixture of shock and betrayal. For 31 years they've defined me by their expectations. Expectations I could never meet. The quiet tech girl, the disappointment, the one who would never amount to anything significant. Now, sitting across from them with the weight of their judgment suddenly irrelevant. I feel something unfamiliar bloom in my chest. Freedom. Father's face reddens as he stares at the membership files spread across Nora's desk. The veins in his neck bulge against his starched collar. This must be some mistake. He slams his palm on the polished mahogany. I'll have my attorney review every detail of this so-called acquisition. Nobody buys a place like Brookhaven without word getting around Charleston. I remain seated, hands folded in my lap. The familiar knot in my stomach has transformed into something different. Not fear, but resolve, hardening like concrete. There's no mistake, Father, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. The sale was kept quiet at the previous owner's request. A condition I respected. Mother leans forward, her pearl necklace swinging. Darling, you can't possibly run something like this. It's a Charleston institution, the responsibility, the social obligations, which I've been handling for 9 months without anyone noticing, I reply, meeting her gaze directly, including you. Celeste circles the office like a shark scenting blood. You did this to humiliate us, didn't you? You knew we'd been members for 30 years and you bought it to... What, prove a point? I bought a distressed property as an investment, I reply. The fact that it's Brookhaven is coincidental. Father's eyes narrow to slits. How did you even afford this place? 16 million? His tone suggests I must have stolen it or worse. My tech startup sold last year. I've been diversifying my portfolio. The words hang in the air. I never told them about the sale. They never asked about my work. The silence stretches between us, filled with 3 decades of dismissal. I turn to Nora, who stands poised near the door. What does the rulebook say about member conduct? She steps forward, professional and composed. Article 7.2 covers conduct damaging to the club's reputation. Specifically, public behavior that creates disturbances, embarrasses other members, or reflects poorly on Brookhaven's standards. And what's the procedure? I ask. The incident must be documented with witness statements. A temporary suspension can be issued immediately, followed by review from the Compliance and Discipline Committee within 14 days. The committee then determines if the suspension should be lifted, extended, or converted to revocation. Let's follow it to the letter, I say. Maggie, already taking notes on her tablet, nods and slips out. Father's laugh is sharp, brittle. This is absurd. We're founding members. You're members who violated club policy. I correct him. Status doesn't exempt anyone. I stand slowly, feeling a strange calm settle over me. For 31 years I've navigated the minefield of their expectations, watching every step, bracing for explosions of disapproval. But ownership of this space has shifted something fundamental inside me, not just legal ownership of Brookhaven, but ownership of myself. For 31 years, I say, my voice low but clear, I've let you treat me as less than Celeste, less than your expectations, less than worthy of basic respect. Mother's face crumples in practiced distress. That's not true. We only wanted what was best. Today you tried to have me removed from my own property. I cut her off, something I've never done before, not because I violated any rule, but because I didn't meet your standards of appearance. Father rises, towering over the desk. You watch your tone, young lady. I won't be spoken to. That ends today, I continue, as if he hadn't spoken. Your membership privileges are suspended, effective immediately. His face flushes deeper. You can't do this. I can. I am. I press the intercom button. Nora, could you come in, please? She enters promptly, followed by Maggie, who carries a folder of documents. Mrs. Henderson waits in the doorway, her gray eyes steady. Mrs. Henderson, I ask, would you be willing to provide a statement about what you witnessed on the terrace? She steps forward. I'd be happy to, Ms. Diaz. Her voice is firm. I observed Mr. and Mrs. Diaz publicly humiliating their daughter and attempting to have her removed from the premises. Ms. Renner participated as well. The doors open again and 2 security officers enter. They stand at attention, waiting. File the minutes of the incident, I instruct Nora. Issue a 30-day interim suspension for all 3 parties, pending committee review. Nora nods. I'll forward the complete file to the Compliance and Discipline Committee within 14 days as required. You'll supervise to avoid any conflict of interest. This is outrageous, Father sputters. I've been a member here since before you were born, which means you've had ample time to learn the rules, I say, gesturing to the security officers. These gentlemen will escort you to collect your belongings from the locker rooms, then to your vehicles. Mother's tears flow freely now. You can't do this to your own family. I'm not doing anything to you, I correct her. I'm enforcing the rules you broke. The same rules you've expected everyone else to follow all these years. Maggie hands them each a formal notice detailing the suspension. Celeste crumples hers into a ball. You're making a terrible mistake, she hisses. No, I shake my head. For once, I'm not. The security officers step forward, polite but firm. If you'll come with us, please. Father looks as if he might refuse, but after a moment's consideration, he buttons his jacket with trembling fingers. As they reach the door, I speak one last time. No one deserves disrespect just because they're not wearing designer clothes or because they don't fit someone else's idea of belonging. That applies to everyone who enters Brookhaven, member or staff. After they're gone, I sink back into my chair. The office falls silent except for the ticking of an antique clock. Through the window I watch them cross the parking lot. Mother leaning on Father's arm, Celeste stomping ahead. 31 years of criticism, dismissal, and conditional love, all embodied in those 3 figures growing smaller in the distance. Mrs. Henderson returns with a cup of coffee and places it before me. Well done, Miss Diaz. I wrap my hands around the warm porcelain. Thank you. Not just for that. I gesture toward the door. For what you did for my husband last winter. You never mentioned it, never asked for anything in return. I shrug. It was the right thing to do. She nods, understanding what I don't say. Some acts of kindness need no audience or recognition. My family never understood that. The revelation hits me like a physical force. I've spent my whole life seeking their approval, chasing validation they were incapable of giving. The startup I built, the millions I earned buying this club, none of it stemmed from pure ambition but from a desperate need to prove myself worthy of love that should have been unconditional. But I never needed it. Not their approval, not their validation, not their version of love with all its conditions and sharp edges. I take a sip of coffee, feeling the warmth spread through my chest. Outside, their car pulls away from Brookhaven, leaving 3 empty parking spaces. And for the first time since arriving this morning, I breathe freely. 2 days later, my phone vibrates for the 11th time tonight. I leave it face down on the nightstand, the blue notification light pulsing like a tiny, angry heartbeat in my darkened bedroom. The digital clock reads 11:42 p.m. The screen illuminates with Celeste's name again. I know exactly what she's saying without looking, the same message, just repackaged with increasing desperation. I finally reach over, curiosity gets the better of me. The text glows harsh in the darkness. You can't do this. Think about what people will say. People, always people, the nebulous jury of Charleston society that has sentenced me to a lifetime of inadequacy. I scroll through the barrage that preceded it. 3 missed calls from Mother, 2 from Father, 7 texts from Celeste, 1 particularly blistering email from Father with legal notice in the subject line. Mother's voicemail plays next, her voice pitched high with practiced distress. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. Is that what you wanted? To put him in hospital? Call me back immediately. My thumb hovers over the screen. For a moment that familiar knot forms in my stomach. The Pavlovian response to family disapproval cultivated over 3 decades. Instead, I power off the phone completely. The screen goes black. The room falls silent. For the first time in years, I sleep without interruption. Morning sunlight streams through my bedroom windows when Amara Ramirez, my attorney, arrives at my downtown apartment. Her charcoal suit and no-nonsense demeanor match the stack of documents she places on my kitchen counter. Coffee? I ask, already pouring her a cup. Black? Thank you. She accepts the mug and opens her portfolio. I've reviewed everything. Your actions fully comply with both the Brookhaven bylaws and South Carolina law. They have no standing to sue. She slides a document toward me. The suspension follows proper procedure to the letter. The committee will make their final determination independently. My father has influential friends, I say, the words carrying decades of witnessed power plays. Amara's expression remains impassive. Friends don't override bylaws or surveillance footage. My recommendation is to document everything but make no public comments whatsoever. I nod, stirring my coffee. Archive everything. This isn't about public humiliation. No, she says, one eyebrow arching slightly. It's about consequences, I clarify, something my family has managed to avoid their entire lives. Nora calls me later that afternoon. Your father's been busy, she says without preamble. He's contacted 3 board members directly. And discovered most don't know him personally. There's a hint of satisfaction in her voice. 2 asked why a suspended member was contacting them about an active disciplinary matter. I press my hand against the cool glass of my office window, looking out over Charleston Harbor. Has he threatened anyone? Not directly. But Maggie overheard him in the parking lot yesterday, speaking rather loudly on his phone about incompetent management and family connections in Colombia. A text from Celeste appears on my laptop screen through the synced messaging app. Marshall refuses to get involved. Says you went too far this time. Hope you're happy. Marshall, Celeste's corporate attorney husband, the family's backup legal strategy apparently. Has my mother reached out to anyone? I ask. Her usual lunch group canceled yesterday. The Harrington-Wilson Charity Committee meeting was mysteriously rescheduled. Nora's voice remains neutral. But I detect the unspoken message. Lydia Diaz's social circle has suddenly developed scheduling conflicts. And father's attorney? Called this morning requesting the surveillance footage. When informed it had already been secured as evidence, he advised against further discussion. His exact words were, "The evidence is clear." I hang up and wander through my apartment, stopping at the small balcony overlooking the historic district. Buildings from the 1700s stand shoulder to shoulder with modern structures, the old and new coexisting despite their differences. The next morning I arrive at Brookhaven earlier than usual. Staff members nod respectfully as I pass, not the fearful deference they showed my father, but something genuine. Mrs. Henderson joins me on the terrace, now serving breakfast to early risers. The staff lounge is buzzing with what happened, she says, refilling my water glass. Good buzz or bad? Good, very good. She glances around before continuing. For years your family treated people like furniture. The way your father spoke to Rosa in housekeeping last month. She shakes her head. Now everyone knows dignity matters here. Does it bother anyone that I suspended my own family? Mrs. Henderson straightens. Quite the opposite. It shows no one's above the rules, even the owner's family. Members notice too. Several stop by my table, introducing themselves properly for the first time. One elderly gentleman clasps my hand and simply says, "About time someone remembered what this place was founded for. Community, not cruelty." 2 weeks pass. The Compliance and Discipline Committee completes their investigation with methodical precision. Witness statements, CCTV footage, documentation of previous incidents involving my family that staff had never formally reported, fearing repercussions. Their verdict arrives in a sealed envelope on my desk one Wednesday morning. Permanent membership revocation for Victor and Lydia Diaz. Associate status terminated for Celeste Renner, 30-day appeal window. I sign the notification letters myself. My hand doesn't shake. My signature flows across each page with unwavering clarity. That evening, I drive home along the Battery, past antebellum homes with wide porches where generations of Charleston families have watched the tides come and go. Change comes slowly here, they say. Traditions endure, family names matter. But sometimes the tide shifts suddenly, dramatically, washing away what once seemed permanent. My phone rings. The appeal window has opened. No appeals are filed. A week later, the glass elevator in my office building offers a perfect view of Charleston Harbor. Normally I savor this moment, watching sailboats slice through water while mentally preparing for my day. Not today. The knot in my stomach tightens as the doors open to reveal Celeste pacing my reception area. "You're early," I say, stepping off the elevator. My sister whirls around. Her eyes are red-rimmed, her caramel hair disheveled in a way I've never seen before. Celeste without perfect hair is like seeing a cardinal in winter, startling and out of place. "This couldn't wait," she says, her voice cracking. Celeste follows me into my office and collapses into a leather chair as soon as the door clicks shut. The polished glass and chrome of my workspace seems to amplify her disarray. Mom hasn't left the house in weeks, she blurts, tears spilling onto her cheeks. Dad is devastated. His blood pressure is so high the doctor added another medication yesterday. I remain standing, arms folded. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate? Celeste springs up. The Thompsons uninvited them from their anniversary gala. Dad's golf partners suddenly have schedule conflicts. Mom's charity committee suggested she take a break until things settle down. Those are natural consequences of their actions. Is your revenge worth destroying our family name? Her voice rises, hands trembling. The Diaz name means something in this town, Opal, or it did before you decided to humiliate our parents. I didn't humiliate anyone. They did that themselves. Do you even hear yourself? After everything they sacrificed for us, what exactly did they sacrifice, Celeste? Her mouth opens, then closes. She tries again. They gave us everything. They gave us things. Not support, not acceptance. The phone on my desk buzzes. I ignore it. This isn't just about them now, Celeste says, switching tactics. Uncle Robert called me yesterday, Aunt Patricia the day before. Pastor Williams wants to meet about forgiveness and healing the family rift. Richard Holbrook offered to mediate. How convenient that everyone's concerned now, because they care about this family. The same Richard Holbrook who laughed when Dad called my tech company playing with computers? I shake my head. The Family Peace Committee is a little late. My phone buzzes again. Celeste glances at it, then back at me. You've made your point, she says softly. You've shown everyone you have power now. Isn't that enough? Her words strike deeper than she knows. Is that what I'm doing, wielding power just because I can? The thought leaves me cold. I need to take this call, I say, reaching for the phone. We can talk later. Celeste grabs her purse. Just remember, when you're sitting alone in your big empty club, we're still your family. Her parting shot lingers after she leaves. That night, alone in my apartment, I stare at framed photos on my bookshelf, a Diaz family portrait from when I was 10. Celeste and I in matching dresses, Mother's hand resting possessively on my shoulder, Father standing tall behind us all. I pick up the frame, my finger tracing the glass over my younger face. Was I too harsh? The weight of lifelong conditioning to maintain family harmony presses down on me. My hand hovers over my phone. One call to Celeste could ease this pressure. One apology, one concession, and the family would close ranks again. The tension would dissipate. But at what cost? I set down the photo and pull out an old leather-bound book from my bottom drawer. My childhood diary, its pages yellowed, the handwriting evolving from childish scrawl to teenage precision. October 12, 2003. Dad said my science fair project was adequate, even though I won first place. June 8, 2008, Mom told Grandma Wilson I was finally looking presentable at graduation. Everyone laughed. May 15, 2015, college graduation, Mom said, at least you finished. Dad complained about missing his golf game for the ceremony. December 21, 2019, told family about venture capital funding. Celeste changed the subject to her husband's promotion. Dad said playing with computers isn't real work. Page after page documents years of small cruelties and casual dismissals. Not dramatic abuse, just the steady drip of disappointment that eroded my sense of worth year after year. I close the diary. Certainty hardens within me like amber. No more, I whisper to the empty room. Their problems are not my responsibility. 3 days later, we meet at a neutral location, a private dining room at the Carlton downtown. I arrive first, selecting a seat that faces the door. Father enters like he's storming a boardroom, Mother and Celeste trailing in his wake. He doesn't sit. This has gone on long enough, he announces, as if declaring the matter closed. Hello to you too, Father. Mother dabs at her eyes with a handkerchief. After everything we've done for you, Opal, the sacrifices we made, you have always been selfish, Celeste adds, but this is beyond anything. The accusations pile up like driftwood before a storm. I let them wash over me, neither defending nor attacking. When they finally exhaust themselves, silence falls. I accept that this is how you see me, I say quietly. Father frowns. This isn't the script he expected. I'm not here to negotiate, I continue. The decision stands. Now see here, Father begins. I won't discuss it further. This meeting is courtesy, not obligation. Mother's lips tremble. Where will we go? Everyone knows what happened. You're free to join other clubs. Charleston has many. You can't just cut us off, Celeste protests. Our relationship moving forward is entirely up to you, I say, meeting each of their eyes in turn, but it will be based on mutual respect, or it won't exist at all. I stand, smoothing my skirt. Father's face flushes crimson. Mother's tears flow freely now. Celeste stares at me like I've grown a second head. You're making a mistake, Father warns. No, I say with quiet certainty. I'm correcting one that's gone on far too long. I walk out without looking back. My steps are light despite the weight of their stares. For the first time in my life, I'm not running from my family's disapproval. I'm walking toward something better. 6 months have transformed Brookhaven. The terrace blooms with fresh arrangements as I weave between tables at our annual charity gala. No longer an outsider, but the woman who revitalized this institution. Miss Diaz, Nora whispers, tablet in hand. The silent auction numbers are impressive. We've already doubled last year's total. I nod, grateful for her efficiency. The renovation budget paid off. The grand ballroom gleams under new chandeliers, walls freshly painted in warm creams rather than the previous sterile white. Staff move with purpose, their uniforms redesigned for comfort without sacrificing elegance. Membership applications increased 18% last quarter, Nora adds, and staff turnover dropped to almost zero. Numbers tell stories others might miss. When I purchased Brookhaven, employee morale languished near rock bottom. Now genuine smiles replace forced politeness. I pause at the terrace doorway, the exact spot where, half a year ago, my family tried to have me removed. Today, members greet me with genuine warmth rather than cold assessment. Miss Diaz, beautiful evening. Mr. Patterson. A retired judge lifts his glass. Best gala in 20 years. The compliment lands without qualification. No implied criticism lurking beneath the surface. Mrs. Henderson approaches, her new title of hospitality director displayed on a discreet badge. 6 months ago, she was a hostess whose kindness provided my turning point. The kitchen staff wanted you to know they appreciate the new equipment, she says. Makes a world of difference. They deserve tools that work. She studies me, eyes crinkling. You've changed this place. People feel valued now. Her words warm something deep inside me. That was the goal. We both know what remains unspoken. Victor and Lydia joined Palmetto Oaks Country Club across town last month. Celeste texts occasionally. Tentative messages about weather or asking if I received a holiday card. The raw wounds have begun to heal, though the scars remain. I excuse myself and climb the stairs to the balcony overlooking Charleston Harbor. The sunset paints the water copper and gold. Below, laughter rises from guests mingling on the lawn. For 31 years, I chased approval that should have been freely given. I measured my worth against impossible standards, believing the lie that boundaries equal selfishness. Now I understand. Respect isn't demanded or begged. It arrives when you choose what's right, even when that choice costs something. A young server, Jennifer, according to her name tag, refills my water glass. Her hands tremble slightly. Everything all right? I ask. She hesitates. May I ask you something, Miss Diaz? I gesture toward the empty chair beside me. My family, she starts, then swallows. They say I'm throwing my life away going to college, that I should stay and help with my younger siblings instead. The weight in her voice echoes a familiar burden. Your life belongs to you, not to them, I tell her. Their disappointment is their problem to solve, not yours. Her eyes widen. No one ever told me that before. Someone should have. I smile. The scholarship program might interest you. Nora has the details. After she leaves, I sip my water and watch the sunset deepen. Peace settles over me like a comfortable shawl. Mrs. Henderson joins me briefly, gazing out at the harbor. Justice finally came back around. Justice never left, I reply. People just forgot what it looks like. She nods and returns to her duties. I remain, glass in hand, breathing in the salt air. The sun sinks lower, painting the clouds violet and rose. A different woman stands here now. One who finally understands her worth isn't determined by others' opinions. The light fades. I don't.